Hi everybody, Steve Griffiths here, developer of the MTPredictor software program. In today's MTPredictor video, I'd like to look at a particular trade setup for the more advanced users we have in MTPredictor, which is trading off the end of a wave 5. Now normally these are dangerous to do because the end of a wave 5 is the end of a trend, and picking the end of a trend can be a very dangerous thing to do. So the only time we do it is when the pattern is ideal and there are other reasons why the market may be making a reversal at that particular point in time. So I want to show you a good example that unfolded on the YM yesterday. As the market rallied up into this high, which was around the 2:30 level, you can see that it made a nice 5-wave sequence. 1, 2, 3, which was the longest wave, 4, 5, up into the typical wave 5 WPT. Were there any ways that you could have anticipated where that wave 5 was going to end in advance? Well, yes, there is, because if I use our bar replay mode and I jump back to just around here, you can see that if I put the edit waves on, it would have given a wave 4 here. Just clear that off. So how can we project the wave 5 targets in advance? Well, for this we use our WPT tool, do up, do wave 5, and then do clicks on the swings just like this. And as you can see, it would give you these levels in advance. Now, we're not looking to trade just off these, we're looking for other reasons why a reversal might be occurring at this particular level as well. So are there any other reasons why we might be looking for high up in this particular area here? Remember, we're looking at this in advance, we're projecting these levels in advance. Well, the first reason is this is the last swing into the low. You can see we had a TS3 buy setup here. This is the last swing into the low, so if I place a DP off here, we very often get a reversal off this particular level as well. And if I drag this across, can you see how this DP level basically brackets our two wave 5 WPTs as well? So this would be an area of where a high was anticipated based off a different swing and a different sort of criteria rather than just our 5-wave sequence. So that's what I mean by adding other things into the equation. Let's just move forward. Market goes up, gets into our first particular level. We actually got an automatic DP sell here, but let's just see what the Elliott wave counts were at this particular point in time here. So I'll right mouse click as it gets up into this level, Elliott wave intermediate. There's our 5-wave sequence. Remember, that's all coming in at our DP level as well, so we could actually place the analysis on here. Also, we know because of the end of a 5-wave sequence, the target is the DP off the wave 4. So I'll right mouse click on the wave 4, place DP, that will be our target. We can then do a trade in and around our red sell bar. So one tick below that low, one tick above the high of that bar, then our potential target is down here. This is greater than 2 to 1, so therefore would be a good trade to take. Also notice this was a VS bar where that went above the previous high. Now the VS setup is better when we get the reversal on the bar after the bar that breaks the high. So this is actually 1 bar late, so this is not absolutely perfect. But let's see what happens. It gets taken into a trade. We then get stopped straight out. Guess what, guys? Losses can happen. I'll say that again. Losses can and will happen. You will get losing trades. This is why we use correct position sizing. In other words, we vary the number of lots, contracts or shares, in this case to keep our risk less than 2% of a sample $20,000 account. So when losses come through, which they have, as you can see here, the loss is kept small. Is the pattern still valid? Well, yes it is. There's our DP level there. Let's move forward another bar. We get another red sell bar. Also another DP automatic sell, but let's just place the Elliott wave count on here because this is what I'm looking at the end of a 5-wave sequence. We have exactly the same. This time we're at the typical wave 5 WPT rather than a reversal at the minimum. So this is an area where the reversal is more likely, i.e. it's the typical area where the wave 5 reverses. And also we have even a stronger VS setup. In other words, this bar here was a very high volume move above the previous wave 3 high. We're now having a red sell bar on the bar afterwards. So this is actually a stronger sign of the with volume to indicate that the market players are now coming in to reverse it to the short side. Again, our initial target would be the DP from the wave 4. To replace that on, we then do our risk to reward just as we did before in around the red sell bar and 1 tick above the high. This time the target would be greater than 2 to 1, in other words 2.5 R, or 2.5 times the initial risk. Let's move forward, let's see what happens. Market goes down to the first level there where your 2.5 R profit would have been taken. But notice how the profit at 2.5 times the initial risk was greater than the -1 R lost earlier. That's what correct position sizing does. But do you see how I was looking at this with reasons above and beyond just the 5-wave sequence to see if there's anything else to look to try and back up our 5-wave sequence ending. In other words, there was this DP here from the prior swing into the low. Also, actually I'll just turn that off. Also, let's go out to the higher time frame chart. If we go out to the 15-minute chart, oops, I'll just clear that off. Was there any reason why there would have been a high or potential high coming in here? Well, you can see we did have a TS4 print here as of the red sell bar. I'll just take those off as they are confusing things. Red sell bar coming in here at 1500 or 3 o'clock, but of course that wouldn't have printed until 3 o'clock. So is any reasons that this particular high here coming in at 2:30 why the higher time frame chart might be indicating a reversal was likely? Well, if I right mouse click, do Elliott wave intermediate, the 15-minute chart was giving me an ABC with the highs coming in here at the minimum wave CWPT. So can you see how the 5-wave sequence, which was actually this little swing up here, was also making up a wave C of an ABC correction? So the higher time frame chart was also giving an indication that there may be a reversal occurring. After this TS4 sell printed here at 3 o'clock, what would that have helped, or what would that have told us on our shorter time frame chart? Well, it means that the 15-minute chart has now turned down, and therefore a longer or bigger decline was likely. Where would support of this be? Well, back from this DP from this prior pivot low here. So let's see how that could have changed your management of your short-term trade. There was our first target down there. Well, it could have changed the trade management by, rather than coming out at our first target, you could have come out at our higher time frame support, which should be down here, and therefore increased your profit to about 5.5 times the initial risk. This is also the DP from the start of the sequence. So also what happens from at the end of a 5-wave sequence is if the market goes beyond this initial DP, i.e. the DP from the wave 4, which it did by doing 2 consecutive closes beyond here, then the next target or the next area of support is to erase the entire prior 5-wave sequence, and we go back to the start of the sequence to take our DP off here, off the start of the sequence, and that becomes our next target. And as you can see, this was actually also in the same place as our 15-minute support zone. So this was a good reason to not want to take your profit here at the first target. It was a good reason why you'd make to run it down into the lower target there. Also, that VSA bar there was an indication that professionals were in the market on the short side, and therefore it was likely to move a bit further as well. So hopefully this has been a good example to show you how and when we look to trade off the end of a 5-wave sequence. The main reasons is that we have to have other reasons why a high or reversal is likely to happen. In this particular case, even though this was a perfect looking 5-wave sequence with the market coming right up into the typical wave 5 WPT, the other reasons in this particular example were first and foremost the DP from that prior swing down there. Also, we saw on the 15-minute chart this was actually a wave C high on the 15-minute chart. There it was, a wave C high coming in there. So that was telling us on the higher time frame chart a high or reversal was likely as well. And also coming in on this particular point in time, particularly on this second trade setup, not so much on the first one, but this second one, this VSA bar here and the VSA reversal at that level was also telling us the professionals were coming in here and therefore likely to move the market lower. The initial target would have been DP from the prior wave 4 at 2.5 times the initial risk. Then, based on our 15-minute TS4 sell setup, and also the market went beyond this DP, and the volume coming in here for professional selling, the next target would have been down here at this lower DP, i.e. the DP off the start of the sequence, therefore increasing your profit to approximately 5.5R. So a good example how to use the tools in MTPredictor to trade the end of a wave 5. And this just shows you how MTPredictor is not just an automatic system, it's actually a tool set. It's a tool set that allows you to evaluate what the market's doing at the time and therefore construct a trade setup in and around that evaluation to be able to come in with losing trades, as we saw, but the losses kept small, and then profitable trades where the profits are much larger than the losses. And at the end of the video, people sometimes say it's impossible to catch the end of a 5-wave sequence. Well, it's not impossible, but you don't do it all the time. The only time you try to trade the end of a 5-wave sequence is when it's absolutely perfect and there are other reasons, i.e. high time frame, and as we've seen other reasons as in this video, to indicate the reversal is happening. So hopefully this has been a good example of how to use MTPredictor to catch the end of a 5-wave sequence, with this great example unfolding on the YM just yesterday.